Before we charge off into a whole lot of different probability models, let's keep ourselves anchored to what it is we're all about. In our introductory module, we talked about how probability was developing models to make predictions about the future, and that statistics was about the analysis of observed events. And since they were observations of things in the past, then obviously we've got this dividing line here: probability looking into the future, statistics looking back into the past. Now it's not quite so clean as all that. That's a very simplified view of the world. Because really these two are all mixed up together in a lot of very interesting kinds of ways and very useful, important kinds of ways. And a big picture of what we're going to be doing in this course is really about inference, about how to use the past to conclude something about the population. And we're inevitably going to be using probability concepts to guide the tools that we're going to develop and use on the inferential side so that we can begin to make decisions, whether that's in the engineering design standpoint about parameters that we might want to use, or whether that's in the engineering management or statistical quality control or product management kind of sense. All of that, these all get kind of mixed together. Now, another kind of fun part of all this is that about 2/3 of the course is involved somehow with the statistics and inference side of things. Right? And the first 1/2 of the course, in a sense, well, yeah, that doesn't add up, right? 1/2 plus 2/3, it's more than one. You can't have, well, can't we? I mean, we have 110, 120% effort in sports. Well, no, of course, we can't have more than 100%. But you know, that time-wise, we'll spend about 1/3 of our time on probability. But those concepts are going to then leak over and come back to us over and over and over in the statistics and inference side of things. So really, okay, time-wise, we'll spend 1/3 of the course on probability in a formal kind of way, and 2/3 on statistics, but really the concepts and ideas blend together. And what we're going to focus on first are going to be developing those key concepts and probability of those. We're going to develop those basic probability models that will allow us to develop our analysis tool sets. That's what becomes particularly crucial. And these two are, again, going to be kind of woven together here. And so let's even think from a more direct kind of standpoint in terms of the schedule, how we're going to approach this. We're going to have the key concepts block that is going to be broken into two basic pieces. We'll have the probability piece that you've already actually begun in Module 1. That was just real generic kind of basic probability stuff. We're going to focus here first on discrete random variables, and spend an entire module on discrete random variables, and then another entire module on continuous random variables. That's just a single random variable, though, different types. And then we'll look and talk about what happens when we have simultaneously collected values associated with two random variables or joint, and you can broaden that out into many different ones as well, right? So that's really mod 2, 3, and 4. And then we'll have an exam in what module 5 or week 5 associated with those, right? And then another part of the sort of key concepts block is the we get into the statistics side of things, and we'll be looking at then first summary statistics, much of which you'll probably already be familiar with: sample means, sample standard deviations, histograms, and we'll broaden it out a little bit from there. Right, so that'll be a pretty quick and short one, and that'll be mod 6, and then we'll get into parameter estimation, confidence intervals, that sort of thing, and that'll be in mod 7. Right, so that, in some sense, that's the bigger picture of the key concepts, and then we have this whole last portion of the course. And by the way, we'll then have just an exam over that, so that's in mod 8. So that gives us 7 weeks then left to focus entirely on the decision-making side of things, which is not just statistical inference, but is broader than that. We'll get into a whole variety of different kinds of hypothesis tests. We'll get into regression models as well as statistical quality control. But that's the big picture of where we're headed here, and all for this big 7-week block. That's the decision making block. That's sort of really the heart of this entire course. And because it's so focused on statistics, you take these two together, and that's where you get this 2/3 of the course is really focused on statistics and inference, and only 1/3 is on probability. But you broaden that out because we're going to use these tools over and over and over.